conference announced his party's willingness to accept the invitation of Presidentbio and participate in the dialogue. Dr. Kamara, during the press conference, said, "This dialogue was a key product of my short meeting with Presidentbio, considered by both of us as the most peaceful recourse to resolve the existing political impasse. Let me, on the eve of the forthcoming inter-party dialogue, essentially between the APC and the, he says, illegitimate pauper regime, humbly assure you that I have not and will never betray your confidence. You are always on my mind, in my prayers, and in my plans to build back a stable, peaceful, united, and prosperous nation." The dialogue is meant to give peace and diplomacy a chance in solving our impasse that puts the integrity and dishonesty, he says, of Mr. Kone and the ECSL at the center. Now, the two are one of the most, and they must realize that their action have put the country at higher risk of development vulnerability and political instability. Therefore, tonight, we're delving into overtures, dialogue, and inclusion in the democratic space. I'm John Conte, and this is AYV on Sunday. Presidentbio, in his second term, has reposed confidence in many young people to mantle critical governance positions of trust.
So, that is second time it's in the competition. We all roll back and make sure say we connect citizens and the government.
All in favor, say aye.
Why is Presidentbio veering towards this trend?
May have a party that has close to 2/3 majority in parliament. That is not good for a democratic. Let me, Mr. Minister.
My name is John Conte, and this is AYV on Sunday. In his second term, has reposed confidence in many young people to mantle critical governance positions of trust.
So, that is second time it's in the competition. We all roll back and make sure say we connect citizens and the government.
All in favor, say aye.
Why is Presidentbio veering towards this trend?
For the very first time, we may have a party that has close to 2/3 majority in parliament. Let me, Mr. Minister.
My name is John Conte, and this his second term has reposed confidence in many young people to mantle critical governance positions of trust.
So, that is second time it's in the competition. We all roll back and make sure say we connect citizens and the government.
All in favor, say aye.
Why is Presidentbio veering towards this trend?
For the very first time, we may have a party that has close to 2/3 majority in parliament. That is not good for a democratic. Let me, Mr. Minister.
My name is John Conte, and this is AYV on Sunday. Good evening and welcome back. This is AYV on Sunday. Today they look inside the anticipated dialogue between the ruling government and the main opposition, All People's Congress Party. You can follow me on DSTV channel 399, Radio 101.7 FM, the Facebook page, AYV News, and other social media platforms. Sending you thoughts and comments. We'll find time for go through them later on inside the program. Well, at the studio, I get very strong proponents of dialogue in the political space. Then don't they mention that severally in whenever they get a chance for them at any platform, and then they talk about that. And this week, most importantly, that we conclude, we don't get, some comments, some statements, and projections from the individuals in the studio. So this evening, I want to welcome Reverend Jibila Kagbo, Director of Communications at the National Commission for Democracy. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for hosting me.
All right, and in the studio as well, we get lawyer Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi. Can I say doctor? Emmanuel Zafar Abdullah. He's Executive Director, Society for Democratic Initiative. Emmanuel, welcome to AYV on Sunday.
Thank you, John. Good evening, listeners.
We also get the Chief Executive for Chadi in Abdul Fatoma. Well, regular voice, he always occupy the democratic space with an opinion we most definitely get to do with the progress of a democracy as a nation. Abdul, welcome to AYV on Sunday.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Conte.
What a week we've had so far. We will conclude. Several releases. First of all, a very strong statement by the opposition candidates will lead the APC into the June 24th elections. Dr. Samuel Matthew Wilson Kamara, followed by a release from State House announcing the ban that was on traveling lifted. And just last evening, or 24 hours ago, the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion also released a statement about the dialogue we will start, indicating the dates when they expect the political parties then for show up. But let's start off, gentlemen. Is this a good sign of perhaps we might getting back to Usai the conversation they begin for come from both sides, that the opposition will be part of governance once again? Because as it is, let's face it, they're not, because of the statement they already released that they go parliament, the mayor and councillor they not go back now, then council the chairpersons they not go back yet. The one we don't go there, the political party they don't say, listen, una don't go against what we state, therefore we suspend una. But let's start again. This step from last week, is it a good sign that these overtures are going to work, that now the dialogue will happen, and then again we'll return to holistic inclusion of all the political actors? Let's start with you, Emmanuel Zafar Abdullah.
Thank you, John. Thank you for the question. I think, firstly, I think you made the point. Everybody seemed like there's a consensus that, we should talk. This is not the time for get to the table because, there's been this political impasse for a long time now, and it should not continue. The second part of it is really the fact, I think the major actors themselves they get fed up with the impasse. The country has been glided to halt, in the sense, in as much as the government, the ruling party, they say, oh, we are doing what we have to do, but it seems like it's just a one-sided issue. And in a polarized country like this, where the ruling party gets large proportion and the opposition gets another large proportion, you need to get everybody on board. This is not to say that anybody will take advantage of the ongoing conversation, but clearly from civil society, from the international community, and I think the government itself has said we are ready, we want to have a conversation. And I think it's a good sign for all of us, and I think that's the drive that we should all push towards, in order for move forward.
Abdul Fatoma, is it a good sign, like Emmanuel said, that we're heading? Dr. Samuel Kamara's statement be really strong with certain things that we've been saying. We will get into that. One of them are referring to the current government that's illegitimate. But let's talk about this week. Basically, the amount of actions that we have been leading to where we are now, and of course with the dialogue there with the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion announced. We will start between the 13th and the 15th of this month.
Yeah. When you actually see the process where they go on, it actually tell you about the 5-step towards any mediation process. First, you get opening statement from each party. So like the government, then the opening statement come with the lifting of ban, traveling restriction of, the opposition members, for over 5 years. And then the opposition party, then come clearly put out their own open statement, give confidence to their supporters and say, what will be done tell we still stand on them. Me say we enter into dialogue.
But is that confidence? The thing is, why the rhetoric not be toned down a little bit? Why would you want to refer to a government as being illegitimate?
Well, you see, that now part of mediation process. More a conflict situation. You not just get for calm, the other party not just get for calm. hands up and say, yes, they'll clap and enter inside room. But it doesn't mean say what they talking at door. Now you get for go talk inside during the meeting. It's a complete different thing. So basically now the opening statement, then you forget joint discussion, private discussion, negotiation. Then we go now down to the final point of settlement. But I mean, who are the losers here? It's the people of Sierra Leone. The people of Sierra Leone are the biggest loser into this entire process. Why? You know, now for the past, from June to now, we don't get actually opposition where they speak for the people. Issues the way they go against the people them. Opposition party don't they? Because all of the other parties that we lost, they keep quiet. You know, as APC way just decide say they cannot be part of governance because they are aggrieved on certain issues. So the people of Sierra Leone currently, now they're not the biggest loser into this whole process. Then again, you know, when issues like this they go on, the key goal towards the settlement, the people of this country need for be included, the inclusion way they talk about, the need for know what they go on. Because it's about the country, it's not about only the APC and the government of Sierra Leone. You know, whatever gain the APC get from this dialogue or negotiation is in the best interest of the people of Sierra Leone. Because the members of APC, they are Sierra Leonean. So the wider public also need for their press. Look like the secrecy about the whole thing. If you not been in this country, no say, they don't place a traveling ban on people that are in this country. Just a one sentence line that, you know, all traveling restriction have been lifted. I mean, who knows about that? We'll not be well briefed from that press release about how the ban become about and now why we don't lift the ban. You know, as a country. So we need all of them sincerity, their openness there.
But again, other than the ban the refer to, because
yeah, but these are all the things. So some of the victims, you know, begin to come up either on social media and actually start identifying themselves how long they have been suffering, you know, from that. So, but basically, you know, the most sensitive and important part of the 5 stages of dialogue is the negotiation. When we reach to that point, what are we negotiating as a country? I mean, that's one of the big things nobody want to talk much about. Most people don't want to talk about.
But that's why we get conversation like there are so for.
No, yes, we get conversations
people like Unaki to mention some of the issues that we don't get for go talk about, we don't get for go dialogue about, we don't get for get the open and honest conversation about.
We go dialogue for end, you know, the conflict. But negotiating the conflict related to this issue is about power. So is the negotiation going to base around power sharing? That's what the people don't know. So, I mean, with a dialogue for resolve conflict. But when we go to negotiation...
But should it really be based on that? Because you come from an election, and the election gets... Outside the opposition party win seats for go parliament. Outside they win councils. Outside they win... They get councillors, they get mayor, they get chairpersons. So it get for be... Would that really be... form part of the conversation that you get for be... So would that be really necessary for get conversation around power sharing? Because let's face it, you get
it will not be necessary because the president talked during the opening, you know, statement at Parliament that even the committee where he said then go constitute, you know, for look into electoral reform issues. Let we as a country not hope say that committee go change, you know, the outcome of the election result. So, but, you know, before now, this negotiation, unless APC change their position, a lot of rumor or the requests about redoing the election, even to a point being very unreasonable, bringing people that way not qualified by law for let them go, you know, organize or run elections. So they still stand by that. Or they don't abandon that because it's unreasonable. So all of them things, these are things that the public need for know when we reach the other stage, the 4th stage, negotiation. What will we negotiate as a country?
Wow, what will we negotiate as a country? Reverend, I'll bring you into this with your opening statement. I mean, good week. Now we created for the balance. because, like Abdul say, it's an opening statement for everybody. But you see actions that they be taken. The opposition want for going to dialogue, but then they announce disciplinary measures against two of them parliamentarians that we're going to parliament, and one for be part of governance. How would that strike the balance? How would that measure as far as within we do now we democratic and political space concerned?
Very interesting, and once again, make us say plenty thank you for the opportunity for being part of this conversation. We don't make some strides in the governance of our country, and we see where we're now, based on the outcome of the June 24, 2023 elections, and positions were taken, especially for the opposition, and say they're not the mix. And we, of course, understand the implications from different perspectives. Some man will even question the legitimacy of the existing government, and some man will talk about even now for build consensus, challenged on the. And we, at one point in time, don't make strong suggestions. Say, no more talk. What problem happen? A talk will get for talk. But it's like it was a far cry from the reality. But thankfully, we see say this week we just done, we don't hear now say, not to just by the rumor now. All man done they make statements, as we call them the opening statements in the steps for negotiate whatever crisis, don't they? For we, despite the challenges of the day, we go on for put them this way, say, indeed, at least we don't begin to see light at the end of the tunnel. Before now, it was a very, very dark tunnel. But now we don't begin to see some glimmer of hope, say, the one that would have been saying they talk yesterday, then don't ready for talk now. And even before the talk proper start, some of the things they don't hear, where they complain they will be not there around. At least we don't see government not begin respond and don't begin lift ban. Yes, of course, we bother make one statement say we don't, some of you don't even understand say voting me they go on. Now some people they can say, now me involve and so me finally put me themselves on a list where I not even know what I do. But at least something has started. And me want for put them this way. You see, when you want to get 100% in terms of what you they ask for, the safest side for going to the courts. But if you still refuse for going to courts, and you still want for make una settle a problem, the option available to you now the political option. And when it comes to political settlement of crisis of this nature in any country, the one word where nobody not for forgets now the word we call compromise. Everybody for be willing, because this one now not all about the facts and the law anymore. Now we go try for talk for make sure say we get settlement, we get one word. Because if you go to court, you argue in a case. You get the evidence, your lawyer put your case across very well, the person you preside in the matter, he can't rule and say, now this missing based on what you say, what this other person say, and look at what in the fact before me and what in the law say, now so we decide. But now, again for give and take. So everybody concerned for understanding and the give and take in this instance now is supposed for in the best interest of this country. And so into this conversation we they bring to it what you call the national interest. Waiting there in the best interest of this country, now in both sides now for pursuit.
What is that national interest, Jibril?
The one we go make sure say we country no experience breakdown in law and order.
So the national interest now for Dr. Samora Kamara and the APC for accept that the results, the elections were held, the results were announced, and President Bio is the legitimate president of the Republic of Sierra Leone?
If that is what will bring stability to a country, fine. But if that is not what will bring...
Or now that President Bio for accepts, okay, there was... Let's agree that the disaggregated figures supposed to be released. We get ECSL for release them, and we'll go back to another election.
Now, for me, the release of those figures is not so for even come on that question. When you talk about democratic process, you talk about accountability and transparency. That issue for overturn the results, no, na courts don't get down there now. It cannot be, this cannot be negotiated. They don't announce results. If you want to overturn that result through a legitimate means, now court you they go, because now so the law say. And the one thing we want for establish our country, now for make we pay close attention to the fact say this country for continue for be a country under law. It does not matter who that involved. When we allow the law for be supreme, it a guide we all, it a protect we all. It no matter whether now you know the favored one or now you do not favor. If the rule of law now in obtain our country, it is in the best interest of everybody. And so where would they talk? Where would they do things? We therefore take all of that into consideration. But I just started about talking about, say, that thing will go make sure, say, we country get peace and stability. Now, one thing and the way for focus on as the national interest, that thing will go bring development for the country. That is something also to focus on. And Usai posting, therefore, surrender certain of in demands in the best interest of them things and they will go put Salome before. These are the things we're talking about, say, now the national interest for pursue. Because if you won't forget, I will call and say one-sided settlement to the problem, now cut you the go. Now yonder now then they look at what's in the law say, what's in the facts say, but now that political settlement, now give and take. Nobody, no one person, the extreme end not the win. Now when we choose for come now the middle of the road, we call compromise in politics. Now yonder the win-win situation go there for everybody, and all man go say, we tell God thank you, we may get with differences, but we sit down, we talk about them.
All right, Emmanuel, there's this aspect of what is in the best interest of the nation, Reverend bring up. But before we get to that, these overtures that are happening now, that presidents announce the ban don't be lifted, how sincere are they leading to this dialogue? Now, part of questions where perhaps the bodies where want for mediate and get for sit on the dialogue don't begin for place on the table. So listen, if you want to have the right step going forward as a ruling government, these are the things that you need to do and get off, your bucket list and tick them that A, B, and C has been done. Therefore, we want to see how the others can bend over backwards now for accommodate certain things. Emmanuel.
So a couple of things. Firstly, we have to make it clear that both the government and the opposition need to tell the people of Sierra Leone where we are at on this process. Because from information where you will get, where you say then don't begin, talk to them, then they talk to this, they don't talk to this. But we should know, because everybody is basically we are basically on alert. We all very anticipating something. So the government should let us know, that we've started negotiation, or maybe the Commonwealth negotiators or the ECOWAS people, we are talking to them, etc., etc. The second thing is, if the government has put out, so clearly if the conversations have started, from what we are hearing, that there's already individual conversations between the mediators and the government and the opposition. The opposition will have raised some of these issues, and then, the mediators, they don't cry and go to government, and the government is saying, okay, we can do this as goodwill. Say we want to sit down and again we are all second guessing it. That is why, as people of Sierra Leone, the opposition and the government need to tell me where they are. But clearly, once they don't put out a statement now and say the ban has been lifted, it's a sincere move. I mean, you can't stop anyone at the airports anymore. And again, for we'll go back to this, when this government take over, they set up a commission of inquiry and they put ban on a lot of public officials because they feel so they get accountability and transparency questions for answer. That has taken 5 years, which is in itself is a long time, and now it has been lifted, which is a good thing. But very importantly, apart from letting us know, I am very concerned, and if you look at the statement where civil society put out 2 days ago, we're very concerned that the national actors are being left out of this process. So, firstly, National Commission for Peace is there; they are involved, but other groups, civil society, other stakeholders. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, with all man as alone don't take sides." in this political impasse. I don't totally
Or is that
agree.
not true, Emmanuel?
No, not necessarily. There are people who go support you, John, but when they sit down for talk case between me and you, they will say, no, John, we don't agree with you.
Yeah.
They could be your friends. There are people who are sincere. There are people who believe in doing the right things. So you cannot take everyone in Sierra Leone and say, you're not qualified to mediate. You could have brought in the international actors, where, of course, they are imposing, I mean, they are imposing them now, and then they say, okay, part of this, forgive it a national context, the local viewpoint. Let's bring these other institutions in. And then that they go able to make, for example, whatever the internationals and they do, the locals go able to pass them on to we and say, this is where we are. We don't need the details of what is happening, but just information for say, this is a step that we have taken, this is where we are. At least if not be a country where being get a very advanced economy, the market begins shake. You understand? Okay, things are working. Let's start investment. Let the stock go up and calm down. But everybody's just here. We're waiting. So, yes, it's a good thing that the government has done something. And I hope and I believe that it will be something that they will not go back on. But we need to get more information on what is happening.
But this could be because government, they're under pressure at the moment.
The government is under pressure from everybody. The government is under pressure from the economy. Because when you have an impasse like this, people holding money, they are not investing, they are not buying goods and stuff. So you see your economy is going bad, shaking. The government is under pressure from the international actors. The international community has invested billions of dollars into Sierra Leone. Nobody's going to sit back and see this country relapse into conflict. The government is under pressure from civil society like us, where issue a statement and say, go and negotiate, and tell in the opposition, say, okay, you have your point, but even at that, be flexible. Because Reverend said it, the nation, the best interest of Sierra Leone is us coming together, solving our problems, and moving forward as a country.
Abdul, strong points there from Emmanuel Abdullah. He says, he starts off with sincerity and openness. He says, I mean, there are many actors in this thing, but government and the opposition, the two main actors, really, for tell we, usai we day, waiting to happen. What have you done? I mean, not disclose everything that has been, or meetings or details you don't get from every meeting, but at least make the public aware that these are the steps that we plan for take going into the dialogue that is going to be led by Commonwealth and African Union and of course ECOWAS. Abdul Fatoma.
Yeah, earlier when you asked me on my first bite, I make mention of that say, they keep you in the loop, that they not agree for till we actually waiting they go on, waiting at some of the things that then they go negotiate. Me interest more in the negotiation part. Open statement don't come. We don't see who side people then stand. We don't see government in position. We don't see the opposition their own position. So then get a joint statement. Joint meeting. So after that joint meeting, then get a private meeting. After the private meeting, then they now come to negotiation. Negotiation then come to settlement. So a 5-step process. Dialogue, not to that thing, we go inside room, we come out, we don't dialogue. Again, stages, and it's very intense. Like Emmanuel say, we get a lot of qualified Sierra Leoneans we know about, negotiation, settlement, they're very independent, and we for trust them as individual, not based on their tribe, their religion, or the school where they attend, because now where they bring a general judgment of people in this country. We ever look where they say Jibril Kagbo. We get for thing that say, then they go strongly associated with APC. The moment you say Abdul Fatoma, then they are strongest LPP. Nothing or the way go, just like that. So we don't do none at that point in there, but we still get Sierra Leoneans that we get independent mind and go able to tell people waiting at the truth. Like I keep saying, the people of this country currently in this process, now they're not the loser. Since June 24 to now, we not get opposition where they hold this government to accountable. That say, look, now we alternative this. When I direction towards appointing more people, more presidential advisors, despite the economic burden where this country gets, we still not get that consideration for remove more financial or economic liability on the state budget, but we still continue to get different presidential advisors, on and on and on. But then we know, say, we get this burden. The best institution we get the mandate for whole government toe-to-toe on political space is the opposition parties. But then, where APC do they even see other opposition parties. So meaning that, all the other and then I mean just participatory political party on the election.
Are there really other opposition?
That's the thing.
So
the point is, sorry, that I have to butt in. During the elections, you see, most of the political parties form a coalition with the ruling government.
Yeah.
So which means they've gone on one side.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the considerations that I think the opposition, All People's Party, forget, that you're the only person on the other side. So issues that we raise, so for example, someone should be discussing it in parliament, and opposition members should be here, they should be on radio. So government begin to think, okay, when we are doing something like this, what will the opposition say? Civil society may raise things, the media may raise questions, but I think, like you said, the legitimate voice is them. So they should not be absent on the governance platform. You understand? We understand their grievances and their legitimate grievances. They may be legitimate or not legitimate, or but at some point, it's been 4 months, 5 months. We have to work towards having the normalcy where we get proper governance.
Yeah, as we speak now, the economy of this country and the living condition of people are very serious, and that will be part of the negotiation package. Because, like what the Reverend said, the best interest of the people of Sierra Leone, we want to see how the living condition of citizens improve. So if we not negotiate,
but you want to have that. You can have that on the table as
we can have that part of the table.
And who is going to solve it? Let's be honest. These are economic. These are things that we get for take time for him before make it happen. The easy way make we reach to Usari this was as far as the economic concern wasn't something that Abacadabra magic wand waved and then the economy just go back all of a sudden. It took time. So you want to take on a table.
John, the activities of June 24, that when political parties create instability in a country, they bring, untold suffering on citizens. So basically, the ruling party not getting a proper political checkmate. So you see things then they go, free flow. So, but when political parties get
wouldn't that be more important things?
But that's important. I mean, if you not get, most people that actually, when June 24 they go to the pool, must be concerned about the living condition of this country. And then again, waiting this dialogue for actually one of the things where they're in the best interests of Sierra Leone. How do we strengthen our independent institutions? And how do we build them? And how do we separate them, from political, frontline political activity than purely institutional? Because now we don't get this exposure that say we no longer trust ourselves past ECOWAS. And would I tell you say ECOWAS itself is trusted? Would I tell you say Commonwealth itself is trusted?
A very, very interesting issue because I don't note and down say whatever question you ask me, that is something we want for raise. It goes to the issue of trust.
Yeah.
Over time, we don't allow certain things to happen. We label it when they take place. But I think we need to make some efforts to go beyond that particular point. Before now, I can say this, I say we politicians in the line. But I think at the ad now say, even with public and civil servants, they're not the line. Because year in, year out, we get the same issue. And we see people doing the same thing with the results to the same kind of description. So now, even as I talk to politicians, say, when I learn lesson from the past, make ourselves not make the same mistake. Also, I say to public and civil servants at this forum, say, we learn the lesson. For instance, I did an institution where, now government institution, and we were established with a mandate. When I walk in line with that, it's difficult for me somebody point finger at me. But some of my concern will hate me like, my brother says, something by the name, no, I say, no, this is another idea. Not so by what I do, because if me go by the mandate of my institution, honestly, you have no alternative but to trust me. And that is what I want to use this particular forum for appeal to all of us who they work in the public space. Say, we service now onto this country.
All right, we service now to this country. Reverend, I'll come back to you. We unfortunately not able to forget the spokesperson for the All People's Congress Party in the studio, but we get them now online. Today we on Zoom, and we want to pose tough questions to regarding the press statement as well as the ruling party and the opposition party. They had to dialogue in the coming week. Now, a name now CDI at Tunis, and they don't join me live on Zoom now. Good evening, CD, and welcome to AYV on Sunday.
Good evening, John. Thank you very much for getting me live on Zoom.
I mean, this now the thing that they suffer. We can't get you now the studio because I guess we in a political party say you can't go and be part of a general conversation that's happening with opposing voices now the studio. This now the thing that they struggle with and suffer with at the moment, CD.
Yes, I mean, unfortunately, now the situation that we'll find ourselves in, and we hoping that in August will continue that way there, because this we say go like for they take part by discourse we get for do with national issues, we get for do with changing the narratives and also making sure we do things we go push this country go before.
Now let's talk about the press statement where Dr. Samura Kamara issued last week, and somebody Tindewe say, in the first place, why such a statement this week?
Well, thank you very much. As you know, since the announcement of elections results by the Chief Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Samura Kamara now give live address to the people of this country. I mean, the party don't pull couple of press releases, INSSF don't make couple of statements on Twitter or through press release, but you never really talk to the nation. And this whole issue of dialogue don't come up also with international partners, local institutions that they meet with. They encourage we follow we talk for see how we go address this political stalemate we'll find ourselves in as a nation. And so through that, plenty, people don't they ask why we know they hear from Samura, and also plenty misconceptions don't they also happen, especially on the social media. We see counter allegations, we saw we get people they throw out several suspicions here and there simply because they talk to that person. So it be need for come out as the one where they head the party for let the people know where we are, within our position as a party.
But why this late, CD? Why almost 3-4 months after the elections?
I mean, why now? Because we get a lot what they do as a party. For now, we get to which side we did now, so we, pretty much everybody they call for dialogue. Now, because of the work we only do this past 3 months as a political party, we not just be the kind talk. We not just be the kind talk no more, but we be done to engage internationally and locally also. And I sure say their engagements then they be very fruitful.
Now, why make Dr. Samura not tone down the rhetoric a little bit in the press statement? I mean, the opening paragraph being very strong. He referred to the ruling government of President Dr. Julius Maada Bio as being illegitimate.
Well, not because simply Dr. Samura Kamara and the party up to this point not accept that result date, where the electoral commissioner announced, we still find them difficult, and in particularly one for make them also clear to the nation that yes, we go into dialogue, but that in any way not change the position it and that of the party. So I sure say it be one for reiterate that to the people of this country, that we are still very much determined as a political party, even as we are heading to a dialogue, that we hopeful say we'll be able to resolve a lot of the issues where we get particularly, but we needed also to let the public know that in views, in stance, as far as it relates to the 2023 elections result announced by Mr. Kone and the ECSL, not change it in any way.
Well, this is almost four months after the elections, City, and holding on to that position hasn't changed anything. President Bio is still president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Result announced. He's going about getting meetings, getting appointments. Nothing has changed. What will change now after this camp press release?
Well, a lot has changed. What will change is the fact that when we get into dialogue, we have to, if the facts say now even the government accept for get dialogue means they're open for law to discuss the issues that we get. And the issues, and once we get them, there is every tendency that some of the demands they make, we'll be able to get them. And also, we don't go now for ensure we're able to secure the future of this country as far as it relates to democracy and elections and how we elections management bodies as well as other institutions then they operate. What we saw in 2003 elections, before, during, and after the elections, the level of manipulations, the involvement of security forces, the manhandling of people, and the way some people lost their lives, properties. We're not going to just sweep them under the carpet because we feel they don't announce results and they don't make person president, so we will just sweep them under the carpet and move on. This is what we have been doing repeatedly over the years. Now that makes we still continue for confront ourselves with them problems they are. So I think it is time for us to sit and have genuine discussions, sincere discussions around the repeated issues we continue for come up with a threatening, or we continue for threatening the peace and stability of this nation. We address them sincerely once and for all, so somebody not go come to around and do worse than what Mr. Kone don't do.
Whether President Bio continue to be president or not. Sidi, can you hear me? Waiting are the issues there, and waiting are the demands they want to get one of the place on the table heading into this dialogue. But before you do that, please, if you have a television set in your living room, kindly ask somebody for turn and down, because we get a little bit of feedback now we end. So just ask them for turn and down a little bit. If you don't worry about that. But let's talk about the issues, number one, and the demand they want to take to the dialogue table.
When I don't get no TV, I'm sitting in my private office all alone, so then I make it the echo. But, no TV is on. I don't want to go in depth into what the demands are.
Well, you have to tell us, Sidi, you have to tell the people of Sierra Leone. On a leader as Dr. Samuel Kamara can't be holding, back and say we need to be part of governance. The mayor and parliamentarians want to be part of governance. And now when they go into a dialogue, the people will vote we vote for one for Yeri, waiting they take as demands, and then issues there so they go with the table. It's important that mention them, because it will bring openness and sincerity to the entire process.
On the 30th of Charlie detail with demands, then demands then they not change it. Like some of them I will go through. On the 30th of June, we put out a press release where we say we will not accept the results. We ask for the ECSL chairman and commissioner, Mr. Kone, for release the disaggregated elections results by polling stations. We also ask for an independent external elections expert for come and get thorough nosedive and investigations into the concluded June 23 elections, the processes and all. We also ask for the resignations of certain people because of their involvement and how they compromise the institutions then during, before and even after the elections, the judiciary, the head of it, the Chief Justice, the ECSL and all the 5 commissioners, the ONS head, and also the Chief of Staff of ONS, the Chief of Defense Staff, of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces, as well as the Inspector General of Police.
So in other words, I mean, then demanding they ask, they say, when they ask all the election management body heads then for step aside after the elections were happening on the 23rd, because if you're getting everyone from the head of the judiciary to the head of police for resign, then that means you're asking everyone at the electoral management body for step aside.
John, we had so many issues with the elections management bodies. And one of the things that we, as a spokesperson, just also as a young Sierra Leonean, we appreciate that the fact that the president self-realized something was wrong, and instead don't call for an election review, a comprehensive review of the elections management bodies. For let it do that, now a simple acknowledgement of which we don't talk all along, that there indeed we have problems with our elections management body. So clearly, these are the discussions that we look forward to. We therefore put clearly everything out for make the people understand why we are making these demands by putting out clear evidences where they support with claims, where they show say we're not just look, John. Before the elections, we made several demands. We cried plenty. We call on this nation plenty, from around the census to voter registration. If then term then day government be they engage with, will be against sincere discussions. As sure say the problems we would encounter during the elections will not be further encountered. And people think this is just about APC crying about rigging. No, there's so many wrongs that we happen, John. We spent millions of dollars for get voter ID cards, and we get ID where me and you will identify ourselves. And people were out there defending it when somebody should have been held accountable for what happened. John, nobody. Instead, now government officials been busy, they defend that wrongly. John, election day, he had situation wherein voting materials inside Freetown here not reach certain stations until 3 in the afternoon. There are stations inside Freetown we not been get RRF, where the law very clear say that on RRF results will be inputted. Now A4 paper, then be the right elections results part, because RRF not be the stations there. In Pujao, no polling agent was allowed for APC anywhere, and we still allow the elections for go on, and people want for act as if nothing not happening. We for just let go then things then they know. There has to be discussions on them things then they let we really see what's happening.
So are you heading into this dialogue? The party APC and the leadership hopeful that then demands they also want to take and put on the table go be addressed, and I mean a clear way forward go be mapped from a dialogue like this?
Well, we are hopeful. I mean, in a dialogue, you get for expect forget some and not forget some, or forget all, or forget nothing. I know say the government themselves go get their own demand where they go put forward, and that is why the discussions are necessary.
Now, back to what Dr. Samuel Kamara say. He said one man thing that we contain in the statements are that it question the announcement of the results, that it lacked credibility. But also, Dr. Samoa say the election, June 24th election, wasn't about APC and Samoa Kamara. What's even there about then? If not to be about APC and Samoa Kamara and Julius Madabio and SLPP, what's even there about then?
It was very clear that June 2024 elections was more about the people of this country being redeemed from the repeated sufferings. In terms of human rights abuses, the economic situations will continue to find ourselves in, the repeated suffering, the escalation of prices in this country, and how we be for put an end to all of their sufferings today. And we already see after the elections, then just they continue to exacerbate, John. I mean, look at where we are now with EDSA. It has gone skyrocketed. Data, now the same thing. Price of fresh continue to go up. Inflation now stands at 51%, and we have no clue. The government not get any clue, not seem to get clue for manage. And in all of this, continue to see, some senseless appointments being made, positions being created for people. We continue for exponentially increase.
But city with the appointment, that's a case of a kettle calling, the pot black, because these are things that the APC, every political leadership will attempt to do them, because that's how they give back to the boys. That's how they give back to them people. We support them, we raise them voice. We go out and make things happen for them during electoral processes.
John, when the APC was faced with economic crisis repeatedly in this country, will not come and create extra jobs for bloat the wage bill. We manage the economy. After Ebola, we introduced measures where people now they call austerity, where they even use for campaign against we. Those measures now before we were able to manage the economy, and we succeeded in doing that. We introduced measures, we cut down on government expenditure, we reduced traveling, and even those who they travel, we cut down the travel expenses. Ministers were asked to, fly economy instead of business. We'll not continue for create jobs even during economic difficulties. That is why we quickly be able for, take away.
But city, this is Sierra Leone, and people know the fact. The details are out. You can't tell us that during the and they will not create more jobs and not appoint people and not get. It's not working for us. I mean, so some of these things, like I say again, it's a case of the kettle calling the pot black. But let's move on to what's going to happen during the dialogue there, so during the days there, so stretch. But before I come back to you, CD, the guests are in the studio. Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi, Dr. Abdul Fatoma from Shadi, and of course Reverend from the National Commission for Democracy. Let's stay with CD and the gentleman Emmanuel. I mean, I see you sometimes you agree, at other times you were not agreeing to a lot of things that were said.
Well, the first thing is, I mean, it's good that what we expect from the APC is what CD is trying to do in 2 hours, raising the issues where if you raise normally if you are functional as an opposition. And I think some of the issues are legitimate things that he's raised. He raised socioeconomic issues like EDSA. He talked about the appointment of more people. And this is something that we've discussed before he came online. About the issue of EDSA, everybody's complaining on social media about the skyrocketing of the price for electricity. So, CD, it's good that you're talking about this, and we hope that you guys can really come back and try to accept. The other thing we come out of what he said is clearly that they are getting ready for the stocks, and which is good. Let us talk. Let the demands be put on the table. But we can't keep these demands in secret. I mean, it has to be open. You can't say the government is not this and this, and then you cannot tell us what your demands are.
Well, so I push on to a point that they begin to mention somebody, Emmanuel.
Yes, some of them. Some of them. I mean,
but we look forward to, like you gentlemen have said in the studio, you cannot have a conversation like this if you're not open, if you're not transparent. What are you taking to the table? Which you want to let the people vote for UNA? How now for let them perceive UNA going into a dialogue that continue, man?
Yeah, so some of the things he raised are some of the things we've raised, and then I'm waiting the civil society statement say. First thing is, we don't trust national institutions. And you see he listed a barrage of people waiting for sack. I mean, that is almost impossible. For example, you're trying to paralyze the entire security sector. Yeah. But what we said in our statement last week is that government and these institutions for ensure that they do their work impartially, with transparency, so that people can trust them. But the ridiculous part of all of this, when me really shocked, is the issue of the judiciary. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I practice law. All of these judges, save for 1 or 2, were appointed under the APC. These are judges that you brought. These are the judges that you actually, during your governance era, they worked there and stuff. How all of a sudden they've turned against you? Or are you aware that there were things that you did with them that you now think others are doing which you don't like? So the conversation has to be frank and open. Why are you asking that the Chief Justice is sacked? Why do you think some judges cannot sit on the matter? Do you think that the judiciary is politicized and or tribalized or polarized? So why did you leave these judges? How did you manage it? It brings us a major lesson. And I'm glad the way you talk with that lesson is when you are in government, build stronger institutions. So when you leave, they don't come hunting you. You know, this is not like where you don't, the dragon where you don't mend, they don't big now. Now you're not able to control them because you're no longer in that pull power position, forget. So we have to be honest and frank and sincere. The Office of the National Security, the entire reformation of the Office of National Security started under the APC, where we say, this was very clear from the British and the donors, build a professional intelligence wing. Don't bring partisan people there. We'll come out university people, and they take exams and they fail up because they wanted professionals. And then you dabble with it. You brought partisan people in it. Now you say, oh, they are not neutral. They cannot be neutral because you have tampered with them. So once you're gone, the next person we can instead tamper with them for trying to forget the young people. These are the things that we will avoid. How do we make the police, national security, the electoral commission, the judicial, how do we make them independent to the point when we run to them, they can be as independent as we want them to be?
Abdul, how can we make them independent? I mean, these are something you don't say over and over again. I remember in the last conversation where we get, you had a long list of things you mentioned about building trust in these institutions, how we can build and strengthen national institutions so that, like what Emmanuel said, once we go back to them, you know that you can go to them and they can give you a fair judgment on whatever not the issue or give you a fair opinion on whatever not the issue. How can we build them? How can we take them from where they are at the moment, whether boosted, battered, or without reputation at all, to a state or status where you know that these institutions can be trusted, Abdul?
Yeah, we go only able to build a trusted public institutions when once the political parties and the leadership be very blunt with their membership for say, I mean, don't allow us to be corrupt. Because the political party membership actually urge them party with in governance for be corrupt. Then they bring a long list of things on unqualified people that will not merit for the state institutions, like Emmanuel say, wait for take exam, go there, but because of that person not get for pass that exam. So then therefore say now be make we win at that area. If it not to be in, we don't go able. So like then kind of people then they just let my people go, then push them forward for occupy sensitive and professional positions. So even when you as a young man or young woman, you grow up for be a technocrat in your country, an expatriate, that particular political party, the tsunami where they come, they can't wash on all go. So when you listen to City where they talk, they still they sleep on election campaign mode. They don't actually catch up the reality. It's a election not done at this country. So what we need now is governance. Either we have effective opposition or we have effective administration running. But when you actually listen, all of the June 30 thing, I mean, at one point where most of the issues where they I publicly tell the All People's Congress, and they repeat and back say, they be very much unreasonable with so many things then. You know, we cannot get foreigners to run election at this country. The law very clear. It's very clear on that. So if you say, because you know win election, and we not suspect say malpractices take place during the electioneering process.
But is that ever going to happen anyway?
No, but that they make, I say, very much unreasonable. And one reality where therefore no. Not the pressure where then they're under from social media, then go then are under constant pressure from the people of this country and their membership. Because since the time when they don't elect them for take over governance at the different localities in this country, then sit down say they cannot go until their own time. Now when their own time don't reach, they cannot give the people of this country a clear roadmap as to where they want to go. They're still telling us on June 30. But then, when we go reach at the negotiation stage, that most of these things we've been doing on the June 30 press statement, in order part of it, then the people start for question, where is the trust? And you know they ask state institutions about trust. But then you not actually want for be open to the people of this country. Same thing goes to the government. Like I say in my openings, you know they just go say the president don't lift ban, all traveling restriction. Tell we which traveling restriction and would that the way now be the category. Right? But you just grab and say things. A government will tell we who side we there. APC where they part of the process, not they tell we who side and there. The rumor where the people know that say there is a process for negotiation, and we get third parties, you know, where they come for way into this negotiation. So they keep the citizens in the dark. And now, city they tell we authoritatively say, then demand them, some of them clearly outlined from the June 30. You know, press statements where they be put to the people of this country. When you look at that very statement, like where you say, we get for meet that demand. So what is the reality? When we go able to get a function governance system, when we go able to get, you know, opposition, we go challenge the government on the challenges where citizens and they face in this country on a daily basis. Inflation, they go up. The next home they think waiting, they go survive on. For example, now you they live in this country, they earn, let's say the minimum wages of 800,000. When I mean, they want the way they get and then plenty. Then take tax per day. Then after that, you know, you go pay electricity for 500,000 or 600,000. Government pay you
By the way, if you pay electricity for 500, hold on, let me just
government pay you
details, because I did. If you pay now for 500,000 for electricity, now 115 units now you get. That now the first day you buy inside the month. You buy later on, that would reduce. So imagine all of that. But that comes to you. Abdul, it shock you, eh?
No. I'm not surprised at that. But these are the things that the opposition party for the after government in neck. That's the reason why we're not in opposition. Criticize and bring an alternative.
Yeah, and also you don't make plenty points and a lot of things that you have to talk about. But we don't put demand on city. We have to come back to it and continue waiting and then demands and then the care going on the table. I think the same thing have to be done with the ruling government at the moment. They have to tell us, as a people, they have to tell us as the one that we vote for them or the one that we don't vote for them, waiting and then concerns that when they go at the table when the conversation they start on the 13th of this month. Reverend.
Definitely. The talk does seem for inch on the issue of trust and sincerity on all of the parties were involved. And even as government for be very sincere enough and know the position where they take, the interest where they get. But they gave, of course, from a starting point, whatever interest now, we all they take on board is supposed to reflect the national interest, where they reflect the concern of the ordinary man. And I want to put them this way. Earlier they talk about trust. I say, before now they say politicians don't learn, but also don't say civil and public servants also don't learn. And I want to make this additional statement. More stop for play politics with the things that will concern the people of this country.
But politicians, let's be honest, politicians will never do that. Because these things are political commodities. They don't toy with them, they don't get the numbers.
No, I think we need to clarify something. We say must stop for play politics. The issue of politics now a daily something for the smooth running of the state. But I like that negative aspect of it. You say you did not say this thing, you're not correct so. But you go on for CI cable for use them for get your own way. Now that's not the appeal we try for make say. When we stop that thing we say, we did not say this not deliberately. You're not going to change anything by that thing you say so. But you just say them because you feel say you can able for hide behind them. Like how we know say misinformation and disinformation within our country now, we don't create a lot of problems. We dey go into this negotiation what we need badly because we don't see a country where seriously polarized. But when we come at the table, a fine man will come with every form of sincerity. We go reflect waiting Again, I keep this thing cannot, they for command me more. Waiting the serving the best interest of the people of this country over the years, whether it's APC or SLPP, everybody they play game for say, when are they in charge? I can do this and we'll see the outcome, how till they happen. Let's stop all of that. More get to that particular point. Who says sincerely, we can look at each other in the face and say, Reverend, no, you're not correct about this thing. The Reverend say, okay, yes, I agree. Let's look for ways and means how we can change the whole situation of the country. Are we not scared? Are we not ashamed that we still look at other countries and admire them? Yes, we get global crises where they affect everybody, but the level is different. The way how it happen in our own country, these are things we will address sincerely. Abdul start with that. He talk about say leaving the economic concerns for be part of the negotiation. Me go put and say it's about the perspective, because we need to discuss right issues as well. If you now begin to talk about rights from that particular perspective, you go look at not just the civil and political rights issues, but even the economic, social, and cultural rights. So you can bring and into the conversation, but this is not about how we make sure say we country economy is stable such that it's able to meet several needs. But as it stands now, we'll get serious challenge in it, and therefore we are asking all of those concerns where you come at the table. No, will not see this as something when I play something. It's about something where we will change the narrative in the destiny of this country. For far too long, all man only in your own corner, they try to do one thing, pull one string or the other. This time, let's come to the table with every sincerity. We know the problem of the country. Not to say, like, we can't discuss, we don't know what's not the challenge, the things that will challenge we as a nation. But we try to make conscious effort to overcome them.
Right.
This time, the issue of sincerity takes central stage, such that when APC they come at the table for bring them concerns, it expresses that sincerity. When the ruling government says they come at the table for bringing concern, it expresses that sincerity. And in we for able to move forward with.
All right, I want to go back to CD again. I mean, CD, I should say you get some of the comments that have been made by Emmanuel, Abdul, and Reverend Jibril Nadi Studio now. But let's go back, before you respond to them, let's go back to waiting Dr. Samuel Kamara say, he say elections not to do or die for transparent and accountable politicians. Well, that means they say now for one way, now do or die for one way insincere and dishonest. Now, but why is it important now that the APC want to be part of this dialogue, where they can still hold out and say, listen, we know want to be part of anything, we still the hold we ground, that you don't have to be part of anything until the disaggregated figures be announced.
I mean, John, I already don't state earlier, say, we want to ensure, say, we right the wrongs where we see this June 24, 2020. I mean, whether person say, oh, APC do or this government do and that government do, I mean, this is the problem. What we saw in June 2023, for me, I don't follow elections business many years, active since 2007. We don't ever see that kind of thing in the day. And it is scary. It is not good for our democracy. And I don't make we the demand that we do it to do so. The dialogue will help for correct plenty of things. People they talk a lot about the institutions where we hinge on our ECSL. And people they talk about independence. Now we all there. Fatoma, we did at our studio. By the way, I get enormous respect for una all. But una all, Fatoma particularly, know plenty of their challenges, their issues there, because now all be they attend PPLC meeting, including Reverend Jibrila, where will they raise their issues here way before the elections. So it's not like we just started talking about them today. And now we all go now Brookfield Hotel. We review the act of the elections management bodies there, both the ECSL and PPRC. forgive them the required independence for make them able to carry on elections that this country will be credible. I mean, look at how they behave. And you want for blame, oh, because this person don't do it. Even where we don't review the acts for give them the independence, we will give them the authority for do better job for the people of this country. They use them against the people of this country. And we want for just let them go. You know, whatever system we don't accept the opposition status. You know, people they ask me, oh,
so are you saying on behalf of the political party they represent, the People's Congress Party, that we not accept opposition status based on the result to be announced that, you know, Dr. Samuel Kamara lost the election and you not get parliamentarians, they will get numbers for go parliament, you not get Freetown, even Akisoya win, you know, the seat again for go as mayor, the other council there across you know, decide away na the APC stronghold, and still they say, you know, not refer to on ourselves or consider on ourselves as the opposition party?
The APC don't make demands, John. We are very clear on the demands. We all want to forgive presidentbio. We want to remove all this cloud hanging on presidentbio in presidency. We all want to do that. We don't ask the ECSL for do what's in it. Just let them just release the disaggregated data, and we will be fine. And we all know that. People they ask about judiciary, how can we even go to court when we're not get waiting for challenge? We have our own results. We get our own data, but waiting we will go challenge. We will not get access to ECSL then data. So how we forgo court? For go make fool of ourselves? No. So we are making legitimate demands. We go help we all as a nation for put everything to an end.
So until until that is done, even I mean, if during the dialogue we not get a positive answer to that, with the mediators asking the Electoral Commission for release the disaggregated figures, and I'll still hold out and say, listen, we, as far as we're concerned, we are not going to be part of the political process or governance process in this country, because the figures, the numbers we look at not be announced. Therefore, we parliamentarians, they will rather, you know, sit out and allow them for forfeit the seats they then get. They not represent them people in our parliament, the councillors, the mayors, they're able for represent them people in a different city and council there.
I'll be a fool and the worst PR person for saying that. If that was the case, we'll not forgo dialogue. I said earlier, in dialogue, it is possible you will get all what you want. It is possible you not go get nothing. It is possible you go get some, you lost some. That is why everybody will get demands so that they put on the table. Government as well as we. So it is a give and take. You know, so at the end of the day, we all get for understand that. But the fact
how far back are you willing to bend as a political party for accept whatever will be placed on the table that would be in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone? Can you
say that again?
I mean, based on all which you don't say, how far back are willing for bend as a political party for accept and accommodate whatever would come from the dialogue, whatever communique that will be signed, whatever documents that will be agreed upon from that dialogue that will be held, to say, okay, listen, we are bending backwards this much for accept in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone?
In the first place, John, we don't get several overtures, locally and internationally. We are going into this dialogue with our demands, with our position, with an open mind, and with honesty and sincerity in the interest of the people of this country. And we expect the same on the other side. But let me say this also. John, things where they happen at this country, say whatever, you know, one of the things that I've always said on the radios, on the TVs, and it will continue for affect we in this country, and the fact say, anytime something go wrong, we were supposed for talk, for let we change that day, now we they make the biggest excuses for the one that we did now. oh, this person be the doer, so why then they cry now? If we continue with that attitude, and not get forever change, people campaign for can't change situations. If you ever can't continue waiting the other man be they do, or do worse, then why campaign for saying they can't change? And that has always been the position of some of us. I am the spokesman for the APC, but I'm also a Sierraleonean. And I really talk this with all my heart. I don't find it pleasurable that every year during hunger, it doesn't matter who than a president, we always get one group where they go protest for and the other group where they go protest against. I would love to see a situation where every Sierraleonean will go, for example, for go protest because we president or we government, they do well. And the only way we can achieve that now if we start to get genuine discussions. We go address the issues here, we don't be happy with impunity. It has to end. At some point. We
will get for left you soon, but finally, before you go, I know, say, I mean, this week as a spokesperson of the party, you get plenty interviews. You get for be on the media, for the talk to journalists there about the party imposition as one of the head to the dialogue. But finally, I mean, on our elected members still they from outside trying to fight, from outside. If you are giving the opportunity to talk to them now, to say, listen, governance, we might be thinking that the results not be in favor. We ask that the disaggregated figures be announced. Would it be, you would say to them, listen, go to parliament, go to decide they want to get elected, be part of them. That's the only way you can fight from within. And if you want to make a change, that's the only way you're able to make change, not from outside. Like we can say in Creole, you optic idealatif.
I shall say when the dialogue starts, as we go into the dialogue, we will continue for inform the public, and also the positions on both sides will continue for be reviewed. As National Public Relations person for the APC, I'm not going to make that determination now. I'm not going to even state what we will say to the MPs as to what they need to do or what they will do in the coming days or weeks. Let us allow the dialogue for start. We already, both sides, don't set up the framework. That is out. Peace Commission has been doing a fantastic job, I have to say, regardless of whatever reservations people will get. They don't do a good job so far in facilitating and making sure that they commit both sides to this dialogue. And so far, on our side, we are optimistic. And we hope that the discussions will be frank, they will be sincere, and at the end of the day, whatever recommendations that will come out of the dialogue, we will get timelines for implementation, and we will get responsible people who will ensure, say, the recommendations that be implemented, and not will just be another truth and reconciliation issue who will just sweep under the carpet and forget about them because we feel, say, we're comfortable now or we don't get what we want. It is really not about just us, but about the people of this country. As we now all at the studio, they ask, we say, now that for be we interest. That is indeed what our interest is. Now that make we take this position, and that is also why we accept for going to dialogue. Allow also know, say, for let this dialogue come about, the two leaders already meet. Dr. Samara Kamara and Presidentbio don't meet. They don't get discussions, and they all two agree that we will do this. It is unfortunate that the lack of trust go push we to not even accepting or not even having our own local institutions for be the habitants. And we hope, say, these are all lessons we will learn, that we will get frank discussions. So in the future, when we are confronted with issues like these, we will trust with local institutions, with local authorities for stepping and mediate, as opposed to, we taking a posture for bringing international arbiters.
Finally, Sidi, before you round up, finally, Sidi, why? I mean, I look forward to an open dialogue, honest one, but then why are you suspending two members of parliament? of the All People's Congress Party will decide for going to Parliament?
Every party gets its own functionalities, and we have our constitutions. When it comes to disciplinary issues within the party, it is a completely different matter. And that is why constitutionally, the disciplinary committee, and then they make recommendations to the party on that issue, and the party, they take action accordingly. But we are also very much mindful of our constitution, and we are also very much mindful of the national constitution. The issue around the two MPs not get nothing to do with the dialogue. It has to do with party discipline.
All right, Sidi Tunis, the National Publicity Secretary for the All People's Congress Party, thank you very much for joining us on AYV on Sunday today. We'll be forget you at the studio. The interaction is different. Waiting at the studio rather than you day online. Unfortunately, you cannot make it to the studio. Gentlemen, I'll come back to Ona shortly, but we want to take some comments now. We will form part of the response there Ona will get as we round up. And for help with that, I will go over to Salifu Cherno Kamara. We don't put together the comments from Facebook. I know it's heated, a lot of for and against comments and today. But let's hear what the viewers are saying. Salifu Cherno Kamara.
All right, thank you so much, John Conte. And just as you say, it's been heated anyway, but we will try to get some way independent and we in line with waiting the discussion day about. And the first message we will take today, it come out from Michael Hindove Lagao Morovia. We say APC is facing serious pressure behind the scene by their elected members of parliament, mayor, councillors. That's why they keep on pressing governments for political dialogue. These elected officials want to go to work. They have to feed their families. And Eddie Grant, they say, how can you call a democratically elected government an illegitimate and later turned around to dialogue with them? Now a question they ask. And Lamine Sober, they say, overtures, dialogue, and inclusion are essential elements in a democratic space that fosters a healthy and inclusive society. Such as proposals and initiatives allow for the expression of diverse perspectives and ideas. They create opportunity for open discussions and debates, enabling citizens to actively engage in decision-making processes. Dialogue, on the other hand, ensures that all voices are heard and respected. It allows for the exchange of differing viewpoints, leading to the development of a well-rounded and informed policies. And it continues for, say, inclusion, the cornerstone of a democratic society, ensures that every individual, regardless of their background or identity, feels valued and represented. These elements combined create space, democratic principles, thrive, and collective will of the people. I think they talk about waiting and they expect the dialogue and the description way the presenter been read. And at the grant, they say, whatever might be the outcome of this dialogue should be in the interest of the citizens of this country. It shouldn't be in the interest of these rogue politicians. And Favor Kurma, they say, ECSL is the main reason why we are going through this crisis. It is not political parties, and we also have government officials who try to defend the ECSL. And Favor Kurma again, from the start of the election process, there are lots of issues which should have been addressed before going into the election. But everybody gave blind eyes on these issues. Now the innocent people are going through the pain. And Joe Bakari, they say, I think this panel should not be speaking in generalities. They should speak to the itemized issues. We need a publication of the terms of reference. It cannot happen in secrecy, and people should not be left to guess. And Mohammed Hindolu Salia is saying, I'm like I have been saying, let's put the interest of our nation first. And Swissman, they say, can someone tell us why our two major political parties are fighting each other in parliament, and why are they always conducting elections when they know that the election will not be credible, and after the election they are going to disagree with the outcome? If they don't trust the electoral process, instead of wasting our resources and leaving the country with no hope, why are they not to forget about conducting election and sign a memoranda of understanding? In every 10 years, they select one person in each political party to lead the country so that they can use the election fund on infrastructural development rather than coming out with a fake result that will hinder the progress of our country. And Mohammed Kurma is saying, we have to get the credibility of the election before the country can be governed properly. And Gustavo Cano, our concerns are simple and straightforward. As citizens, that our votes did not reflect our will. And Hussein Hansa is saying, one of the major problems of Sierra Leone is trust. APC and SLPP are the same. They are not honest. And Abubakar Rashid, the demands of the APC is untenable. Listening to the spokesman just now, those demands are like bringing the government to a halt. I think they should allow this country and the people to move on. So if they take those demands to the negotiating take, it's going nowhere. And Millicent Korma, they say both APC and SLPP are the problems of Salone. May God help us. And democracy, Fude Mustafa Toure is saying, democracy should not be settled on the table, but on the ballot box. Any agreement that gives power to anyone without the actual votes cast on June 24 is against the true meaning of democracy. Actors have to insist on the auditing of those votes for power to be ceded to the actual winner of the contest. No law is contravened in knowing the actual numbers of the polling station. And Silvanos Lucene is saying, may the Almighty God punish all the dishonest politicians in Sierra Leone and their generations for their selfish desires and not putting country first. Holy Ghost fire. I think this is my favorite. All right. That's the last message you will take for today. And back to you, John Conte, on the studio.
All right. That last message they get, we all smiling at the, at the studio. But obviously, it's important that we go back to God. It says, Holy Ghost fire for all the insincere politicians. Emmanuel, somebody make a comment. We're very... very important. I guess, I mean, he jolted a lot of wind at the studio that this panel for seek for address itemize the issues and address them one after the other. But he also say them for publicize the terms of reference. What are they going to do? What do they expect for talk about? What the outcome supposed to be? Emmanuel, let's start off with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the thing is, it's a very important point with the first one, but we don't even know the items. So we are just basically juggling all over the place, second guessing, waiting the opposition ones, waiting the government one. In fact, I think officially, and now we know, say there have been a meeting between the president and Dr. Samra. Officially, now we go here and there. And I think it should be very clear. Government should be clear. We've met, the president was met. We know sometimes the secrecy is good because, you know, the thing about politics now, the tension and the boys around the big men, they all get in position. So once they get to know that meetings are ongoing, they try for disrupt them with all things. But I think because of the nature of this impasse, we need a complete transparency about it. If Dr. Samara is meeting and negotiating and talking, let us have that feeling that it's happening, so we can get hopes that we are heading there. If the president is reaching out to Dr. Samara and they are meeting, let the government make that very clear to us. We cannot continue having this. So it's good for us to note that. And I'm glad the way CD said, he said, I am a sierraleonean. Even when I am I am a politician, I'm the spokesman, I'm a sierraleonean, which means we all now know, say, there are things that when you get into that meeting will not be on the table, which is, for example, the outcome of the result or whether President Bio is going to be president. That is that's not going to be on the table. Let us take the issues that we can negotiate. I mean, these are things where they're not talk internationally, things of political prisoners, cases that are hanging over politicians. Now we don't see them, don't lift the ban. And also maybe some kind of appointment in some places, because clearly, John and colleagues, you have to understand, 5 years is a long time. So I think the whole issue now is some people thinking, if we will not get something, what do we do in 5 years? After you don't spend 5 years in the political wilderness, what do you do in another 5 years? So it's very key for us. But the important thing for me, I think, is we're all speaking to one thing. The opposition wants to be on the table. Government wants to be on the table. We all want the government to be on the table. Reverend said it. Sincerity of purpose. We get there, solve this problem once and for all, so we can move on.
Now, Abdul, before CDD ends in response to questions posed to him, one thing we mentioned that the role of the chairperson of the Independent National Peace Commission. He said that clearly. He appreciates the role it don't play. Could this be a road leading to an institution that can now be trusted with the role they go play by being fair, impartial, and able to mediate a process like this one?
Yes, even before the election, one particular last meeting being there, when I be the dialogue meeting within ECSL and the All People's Congress that been to Mani, when the same Peace Commission back be called that meeting. I'd be fortunate also for sit down at that table as an observer and see them make mention of me, attending high-level meetings, during the election alongside Reverend. Then I'd be also the sit down at the National Steering Committee on Elections. But basically, when we go to the meeting and they represent my own organization and the people of this country, their own interests. And if you go there as a political party, you therefore represent your political party interests, and the people of Sierra Leone interests. So if APCB knows the ID cards that may get a problem onwards, APC for them boycott the election and boycott the election result. So that's not my own position, because by then we not be not spend much money reach to this level. And city honestly say because they not get any evidence at hand or something at hand, now it make them not gonna cut. So basically it's very clear. I'm very sincere on that. Then coming back, I lay out the 5 steps then on dialogue and at which stage. So now we will not complete the 4th stage opening statement. Then we will not even get a pre-background meeting, within President Bio and also Dr. Samura Kamara. And now, then therefore can get a joint statement. The terms of reference where the person they talk about, you cannot get AU, African Union, ECOWAS, and Commonwealth, bringing them together without a terms of reference, because they're bringing in professionals and they have to pour resources on that. So before ever they approve any money way for support, then they will get stuck into this issue. They already don't get terms of reference. How then they work and waiting then therefore engage with them people then. So within we the talk here, far away from that, we will call for transparency of the process. So if that terms of reference they are available, why make the public not get access to that? These are the demands that we as a citizens, we would ask for. But I mean, they're not going to tell we say there is no terms of reference. So that's very, very clear on that. Then again, you see, clearly as soon as they say, this is not my own issue, when they reach that stage, the 3rd stage of this process, when they're in the negotiation. Waiting day in the interest of APC as a party, and waiting day in the interest of SLPP as a governing, party, and waiting day in the interest of people of Sierra Leone. So these 3 interests there, we actually the public need to be well abreast within 3 interests there. So then we not the public able for no, but then again, these people go passive as a very sensitive negotiation. So in a sensitive negotiation, not everything that they talk in the room, Well, they can't talk and I do. I don't involve in several, negotiation process. So there are things that when they talk inside the room, you bound not for go out there for talk, even though transparency demand, for law be open and be transparent.
Right.
That are one of the principle of negotiation.
Right, Abdul, I'll come back to Abdul and Emmanuel for close. But Reverend, one man thing that Emmanuel mentioned earlier, before you make your comments on several things, not been the how inclusive this whole thing be. There are few civil society where they're part of them, if any at all. National National Commission for Democracy. Are you involved? Are you part of the institution? They part of this statute? Are they? Because it all there around we democratic institutions.
Yeah, sure.
So are they part of this process?
I'm going to be careful in answering that question.
Why?
But when they get
Yes, they come. It's an open. I still have to be careful.
If we're demanding from politicians,
Fatoma, just don't talk this nonsense. When sensitive information are involved, you're careful what you divulge. Of course, my own approach to say information sharing for being very honest and plain with the truth. We are not directly involved. But we don't work behind the scenes for make sure say we get all of these things happening. In fact, there is an MOU signed with the Peace Commission for make we work together. We don't the whole meeting and back and forth for discussing the same issues here. So, and well, of course, we look forward to a situation where the process will be more inclusive. Even as civil society, they ask for their inclusion. We serve as a commission. We also want to be involved even directly because whatever happens, everything is happening within the democratic governance framework. So we self get a stake in it. And we don't use we citizens platform for political tolerance for reach out to the different players there. Mm-hmm. So at a time like this when such they happen, we self want for take the front line. Interestingly, now we institutional forum, a colleague writes the kind of alert we all to the fact say if this thing they happen, we for make sure say NCD is also part of the conversation. So by asking me that question, for now we're not going to say we involved directly, but behind the scenes we've been doing one or two things. Now we even use this platform for tell the nation say and all the people who are concerned say NCD wants to be directly involved. But before you probably bring some.
So I love the way he.
Is the president watching?
I love the way everyone able to go around for answer the question. By telling us no, we're not involved, but we look for the opportunity for be part of the process. That's very witty for everyone forget and done that with the Reverend.
Yes, but I want to say something in this whole process. You see, things that happen over time. We get challenged in terms of leadership for handling process here. For most of the time, we say, now the grassroots now say this. From both sides, whether now APC, SLPP, other people concerned, we want to see a level of leadership in this process. We go take we out of this situation in one piece. More we know, get ourselves to that point, Usai, we go allow things for degenerate and create a lot of unnecessary problems. We don't face too many things. We're negative already. So now if we are moving forward, we want to see effective leadership from the opposition. We want to see effective leadership from the ruling government and all of the people who are concerned for push this process forward. But let me also make a reminder, Mr. Conte. For most of the time, people can just say the national pledge and not even pay attention to what really the demand from we as citizens. And because now the attitude they will get towards the national pledge, so many things are going wrong. We not seem for actually get a full grip of them. So probably quickly I will just make some say some lines and make some comment, because at a time like this more than ever before, we need for sure that love and loyalty we'll get for this country wherever you find yourself, opposition, the ruling government, we always say, we pledge with love and loyalty to this we country, Sierra Leone. But really, now that they happen, we say we vow for serve and faithfully at all times. But is that actually what is going on? Then they will promise for defend in honor and good name. They will say we always work for unity, peace, freedom, and prosperity, and then put interest above all else. But really, at that they happen, then we can say, God help me. But we really trust in God for make help we, for make we solve a problem then. Where in fact, all of the things they would don't say, the pleasure they make to this country, in all water. Why we not for, like, at this critical juncture in the history of this country, reflect on this pledge and say, now, I will make sure, say, I implement them, not to just for pay lip service to them. Me appeal that day. The pledge should speak to all of us, because as a nation, we need for put aside with differences, come together and move forward. Not forget, we'll get a lot of deficit in development. But if we continue for being divided, those deficits will continue. So the change in them will continue as a pipe dream. But if we make a sincere decision, say, yes, in the past, we don't pay lip service to country, but this time now, we want from the bottom of where at, be involved for make things change. We go see how it go happen.
But you want to ask a question, really politicians, they want to make, the masses make their way out of the state within this. So because honestly, politicians wouldn't. Because the thing is, if the masses be liberated, they're not going to need a handout from you at the end of the day. You can't dictate what the masses get.
But that is not the end goal of politics for make people to receive handout from you. If you are sincere, the end game is for make people are delivered or liberated from the poverty situation. Other countries in the West, including even China, where they point fingers at, then they produce millionaires at regular intervals. In this part of the globe, first of all, they make the effort. Sierra Leone in particular will not for depend on politicians. The politicians then get their own role. Then for create that enabling environment, Usai me and you, and not need for sabi anybody self na politics for make a get good job.
All right, Abdul look at the Reverend. They say, it seems like, are you coming from?
The Reverend is very utopian. The Reverend is right. I mean, we should be aspiring for the bigger ideas.
Yeah, but gentlemen, let's round up for today. And one question. I mean, it's clear that in a democratic space, if you don't make overtures, reach out, like the political leaders are doing now. You don't have a honest dialogue by bringing what you have on the table and listening to the other side and make it all inclusive. It will be very difficult for progress to take place, for development to happen, for peace and stability for them. Now, as the political heads or leaders, they head to this dialogue. If you have a top list, Dr. Emmanuel, let's start off with you, Safar Abdullahi. Top list of which your expectations will be from this dialogue, what would they be? And go be followed by Abdul and then Reverend Jamila Kago.
So for me, first thing is there has to be sincerity for solve the problem. So you get into this meeting, you have issues you want to discuss, you get your position, but at the same time you're flexible about them. So second, I think we talked just now about local actors. I think this is now one of the major first time that this world don't get an impasse of this nature. I mean, there was something in 2012 where, behind the scene negotiations and take place. But this one has opened at this. It's a learning process for the local actors because something will happen again tomorrow, next elections. We're not going to wait until the Commonwealth, the AU come in. We were talking to the Interreligious Council last week, and they said they've not been consulted. They are not part of this. These are the moral guarantors of our religiosity. Thing what we hold dear to values. The third thing where I feel now the issue of tolerance to dissent, John. I think that's our major problem. That's You don't want to sit on the table. Fatoma says something and I disagree with, and you become an enemy. I don't think we have enemies here. The APC and the SLPP, when you meet these politicians and they obnob, you will be shocked. But then once they're out there, they make like they're killing each other, and their supporters, no dissent. In fact, once they're associated with another political party, you're not enemy. You and somebody, they walk in an office, they say you're not APC or you're not SLPP, they don't cut you off. You say, oh, this one not to me, and the ones. It should not be like that. Your friends can be in different political parties. You and your party go disagree on public policy. You can even date the SLPP within a government. You disagree with them on certain things when they do. It doesn't make you less of an SLPP supporter. People have to be tolerant. We all get to be tolerant to dissent. Because now they don't create this enmity. In the diaspora, people no longer go to. So they all go study overseas. They see Tegloma get events in America, all man go. They see Bombali Union go get events, all man go. But now it's basically divided. Now only people from Mendeland, they go to Tegloma event. People from Siminiland, they go to Bombali event because of this intolerance to dissent. You don't have to believe in waiting one person believe it, but you can be friends. People don't scatter their relationships because they're not tolerant to dissent. So when we go to this meeting, the politicians have to show that they are willing and ready to listen, particularly the government, because now you hold the sharp side. When the opposition says something, listen. Don't just discard them. It go pass. No, engage them. Because, some Monday, it go get one match. Once he talk him, he don't done. But once he not talk him, he say, you see, that they ignore me. The officers are important. Then the grievances and the grief, all them things that they build. So it's important for us. Tolerance is important. Freedoms, expression, people can speak. You don't have to agree with me if I tell you, say, this government is doing excellent. You could say, I disagree. I say, this government is doing badly. We should allow people for say their bit. You know, for hate somebody because they don't tell you, say, I disagree with your government or I disagree with the president. The other day, and I'm going to say something which is very critical. I just reading on social media, they say a young man sent to presidentbio because he criticized the president or he cursed the president. We should move away from that. We as a country don't pass that level. In fact, as a politician, once you get into politics, right? You level the other, you say you skin for now thick enough for no say people go stone you, people go curse you and stuff. We enough for use state institutions for punish anybody because they are critical, because this is the reason why the cybersecurity legislation has to be reviewed. So we have things that we need for moving democracy. Yes, because it's not just the space. People can feel say, not just the media. You are civil society. You as a citizen, always don't always way to type something on social media. You all can be arrested because of one legislation. They narrow and muzzle the freedom of expression. So for me, now then 3 issues that we need to take forward. Socioeconomic issues that I think will take a long time to solve.
Yeah, it will.
But if we not get peace, we'll not get socioeconomic issues. Correct. The president don't say, I want to feed the nation. Now, what's the growth in Sierra Leone? Bigger. Not enough. If the opposition say
the south,
no, the north, the Bully lands, now they get the grow properly. So if agriculture or even the Bully land, now they tell you. So agriculture teaching. No. That's what it is. We have not utilized. So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't get the opposition complying, how do you use all that arable land where they don't end up follow? The people in the north are going to say, we're not giving our land, we're not a part of this. They will not participate. So we have to come together as a country for move. The socioeconomic situation is getting grimmer. You understand? It get difficult for people on a daily basis. We're in a small country where we rely on the international community. There's now war in Israel. America is putting money there. There's war in Iraq. The grains are not coming in. So we're in a situation that worsen until we're able to come together as a team, just like where the opposition, now Israel, they tell Benjamin Netanyahu. So we disagree. So, but at this point in time today, we are going to work together for face the common enemy. We have a common enemy, which is poverty, and socioeconomic challenges. And then we'll all focus on as a nation.
All right, Dr. Emmanuel Safa Abdullah, thank you very much for that. Sincerity says we'll solve the problem and for be more flexible, recognize and work with local actors, be tolerant to dissent. It says don't discard what others say, engage. Not feed or foster grievance. Abdul, before Council Reverend.
Yeah, one key thing, public sector reform. We all don't see we public institutions, and for far too long, not only for the June 24 election, we get a lot of distrust and lack of confidence with public institutions and with public services. So now we don't get a golden opportunity that these two political parties actually they go negotiate, something on the best interest of Sierra Leone. So one thing for me, if maybe they advise any one of the two, if they're on the table, how do we build trust and confidence public institutions. So even if they're in opposition or you're in power, we rely as a country, as a citizen, for their institutions, and they work for we even when they are asleep. And the second one will be the issue of how do we actually build trust within the political party and the people. There's a huge distrust within the people and the political party. So when it is a political party, then they try to build that confidence. Then they go way off the track of of governance issue, the reality of governance, and actually try for dance to a way then will still continue for deceive them people. They are like they talk about if they get liberated, because they believe that say one bag rest for 50 man. At least we're able to forget, show say, I get crowd ready follow me. So how we go address that issue, the trust with people them and the political party. And the third one will be the harassment from political party to the government. Because the corruption when we get to this country, one of the key battle with corruption, now because political party, they harass the sitting government. Like, for example, where SLPP they now in power, the SLPP political party, the grassroots members and whatever, then they present a whole list to the government for threatening, technocrat their own job and make this country they drag backward. When APC the same thing, like cities talk that we forgot for the make reference of what the APC been do, what the SLPP been do. But then the one that we do history and history tell we say, history always remind we of Usai we dey and Usai we want for go. So sometimes and then we not go just reference for reference sake, with a reference for law will build the future. So with that, I think we go able to get a better Sierra Leone. And this dialogue, I think, say, if they're not politicized, it's a good opportunity, for this country.
All right. Thank you very much, Abdul Fatuma, for top 3 comments as far as we see the expected dialogue for be on the 13th to the 15th. We ECOWAS, AU, and of course Commonwealth go for engage the ruling party, and well, CDC they're not ascribed to themselves the opposition party status, but technically they're the opposition party. So Reverend Carbo, waiting to be legally they are too. Waiting to be top 3 as we end, and it has
commenting on that particular thing. Yaya Tunis was calling the presidentbio, so that should send a message. But let's talk about a frank and open discussion. We know they left anything, any issue when an issue, more discussion. The good, the bad, the ugly, the things that we don't make will get to USA with this. So, more will not sweep them under the table or sweep them under the carpet. More put them on the table and talk about them. Call them by them. You see, the first way out for solve a problem, for first of all identify, say this is a problem. But if we avoid that, with this window of opportunity, we'll get so. It go boomerang and it go there with we for a very long time to come. But we don't want to foresee that kind of situation there.
Okay.
So we also look at all of the players where they go to that negotiating table there, make them go with an open mind. And that open mind there, if we skew them at all, we for skew them in the interest of the country. That is, say, Sierra Leone, nine for come first in terms of every other thing. So apart from it being frank, the sincerity of the players is also important. But let me say this. Apart from the one that we get for day directly, the supporters of all of the sides that were involved, then for be careful, not for make this thing turn another fierce battle. If we don't agree, we don't willing for make we talk, now because we're ready for surrender some of the things, and because now, not to cut decision again, now give and take. So we all for going to it. Those involved directly and those of us who are fans or supporters of the different groups, may we get an open mind and say at the end of the day, it is Sierra Leone that should win. And if me get me way, I mean, really want to make we end with this national pledge. We recite them together and remind people.
Unfortunately, well, we'll ask if the producers they're able for access and they can plan for later on for watch. But that's how AYV on Sunday go left on for this Sunday. Now, many thanks to the panelists in the studio, Dr. Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi from Society for Democratic Initiative, Abdul Fatoma from Shadi, and also Reverend Jibila Kagbo from the National Commission for Democracy. We hope the conversation will continue. Yusuf will continue to be part of them. Thanks as well to the viewers who are sending in comments from all across the globe. We also sorry if we're unable to read your comments. A repeat of this program will come up at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Be sure to catch a fresh edition of the program next week. Up next is the AYV Prime Time News. I'm John Conte. Many thanks for watching and listening. Have a great night. President Bio in his second term has reposed confidence in many young people to mantle critical governance positions of trust.
So, the second time we see the competition. We all hold back and make sure say